Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Baton Rouge's Live Music LiveWire. This is going to be part 3 of the interview with Del Moon. This particular episode focuses a good deal on the National Sports Festival event, which I was part of, as a matter of fact. One of the few times I got to be on stage with the Doobie Brothers and sing background vocals for the song Black Water. It was kind of an exciting moment in LSU football stadium with members of the bands of the Doobie Brothers. We had Cheap Trick there, members of Kansas, members of Santana. And Del, of course, was right up in the middle of that as well. So among the many other things we've had to discuss, this was one of the very interesting ones. So sit back and enjoy. And part 3, interview with Del Moon. Enjoy.
Well, the sports festival. Let's talk about the National Sports Festival we had. Because we were the stage crew for all those bands that were up there. But a particular event happened that night that I think people would be interested in hearing about you.
And some of the players from it are on that wall from LaRue. The National Sports Festival was essentially the qualifying event for all American athletes to get on the Team USA. It used to be one big event. It's broken up now. But we had it in Baton Rouge in '85. And the opening ceremonies were going to be in Tiger Stadium. I was working at Channel 2. I'd done all my music stuff. I'd done a couple of stories with Leon. Of course, I've known Leon a lot longer. And Bill Bankhead was running. They hired him to run the games. He's the only person they could trust that could handle all those logistics and the high-level stuff with all the Olympic people. And so he calls me up, and he goes, "We need an act for the opening. And I only got like $15,000 or $20,000. Can you get me something?" I said, "Why not Louisiana music?" "Well, they specifically said something that's hot with the kids right now." I'm like, okay.
All us kids.
So I didn't get to pull that in, although I did manage to bring in Louisiana's LaRue. So there you go. I did it anyway. But Leon, I knew, had been invited from being an opening act with Kansas and Cheap Trick and all these people. He was really a likable guy and was pulled in to do substitute gigs and things like that. So he was well known in the rock circuit, and they brought him on to join a very special kind of a charity thing. Wasn't necessarily. Well, it was for the USO.
It was the USO, yeah.
And it was called the 1st Airborne Rock and Roll Division. They'd load up in a C-5 transport, go to Tierra del Fuego, do a concert for the troops, pack up and come home. And Stephen Stills was one of the founders of it. Well, they had people from Cheap Trick, Doobie Brothers, Santana, LaRue, Kansas, and Fergie Fredericks. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So at any rate, they were the super band. I called him and said, "Do you think they'd come down and do it?" He says, "Well, Del, they don't do domestic shows. They've never done anything that wasn't on an Army base." Mm-hmm. I said, "Let me write a letter. Let's get together. Maybe we can meet them and talk them into it. And the USO will allow us to use the name, and they can come down." Because they talked to all the guys. They said, "Oh, that would be cool. All these Olympians, yeah." So we Bill and myself and Leon flew to Atlanta, sat in the Crown Room at Hartsfield, and met with the 2 people from the USO, and after crawling on our hands and knees for about 45 minutes, they kind of half smiled and said, "I don't see how it would hurt anything. The guys are okay with it." "Well, I've already asked the tough questions." "Yeah, I think that'll be all right." So we got the 1st Airborne Rock and Roll Division, and for just expenses, and it was around $20,000. Mm-hmm. Hotel rooms, food. I unfortunately had to book the rooms and had to share them around, and I got the Tiger Band Hall for the rehearsals. Yep. I was in Tiger Band, so that was easy.
Hall the whole week while they were doing that.
Yeah, and I got to sit down with them and eat lunch with them, and they were talking. And here's where we get to the story you referred to, is that they were making the set list, and they go, "Well, we always end with Born in the USA." "Yeah, that gets everybody going." And they said, "Yeah," and one of them said, Tom Johnson, I think, he just said, "Yeah, but Bill's not here. Who's going to do Uncle Sam?" And they said, "Oh, yeah, we do Uncle Sam." "Well, yeah." And they said, "What's that?" And they said, "Well, we get a guy to do Uncle Sam, and he comes out on the encore, and he goes, 'Born in the USA.'" I said, "Well, who are we going to get to do it?" And all at once, they all go, "Pink," and they all turn around and look at me. "You're it." So I was anointed to be the guy that would go up and do Uncle Sam. So I said, okay. I went and got the suit. The next day was the day, the day before the actual gig. And I said, "Hey guys, what if Uncle Sam jumps off the stage and high-fives all the athletes? Oh, that's a great idea. We get there, day of show. I walk up and up and up. I get to the front of the stage. I look over. They're jacking in behind me. I turn around and look at Leon. He's got his back to me, and he's jacking in. I said, Leon, that's 10 feet at least. I can't jump off here. He goes, oh, yeah, you are. He goes back to what he's doing. And the other guys, just like Robin Zander, he's standing there and he goes, hi, starts laughing like, dude, So I was had. So I was going to have to jump and I was terrified. I have a picture. I don't have it with me. I can find it and email it to you. You can edit it in here. Ta-da. So I'm going to do this because it's going to be there while I'm talking about it. I know too much, don't I? The paranoids are out to get me. So we put together see, I got caught by my own joke. What was I talking about?
Well, you were talking about jumping off the stage.
Oh, the jumping. Yes, of course, the most important part of this story. So I get up to the front of the stage, and when I jumped off, this picture shows me legs arms akimbo, with this look on my face.
I just saw it from the back. I was in the back.
and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, what if Uncle Sam, America's, symbol, busts his ass in front of all of our best athletes? What kind of image is that? I hit the ground, my legs, buckled. I learned, pratfalls and all that stuff, so I knew not to just bang. So I just kind of dropped back, and my butt touched the ground, and two of those guys picked me up. And I jumped up, and I went, it was somebody's protecting me. I'm almost up to 3 cats.
Well, that means you got 6 left. But now, of course, you are living over in Safety Harbor, Florida now.
Yeah, life does not suck there. I miss a lot of things about Baton Rouge and Louisiana culture. I wish that I could just get in my car and go do all the things that I can do here and that I love. The music scene's pretty hot there. There's a lot of good stuff going on, but it's a lot of this different things. The cover songs you hear there are different than here.
Yeah.
Tampa, and there's St. Pete, and then I live in Pinellas County, and parts of it are what we call God's waiting room with nothing but retirees. But I'm in a little town, Safety Harbor, that actually has children in my neighborhood, and it's what we wanted. And it's at 51 feet, which is a mountain, so I'm not worried about the hurricanes. It's a 400-year-old oak down the street. I'm good. You drive and try to get out of it. I'm going to just sit and let it pass through
that's
me.
A bit of my old stomping grounds because I grew up in St. Petersburg myself.
So the vibe's different. Tampa's rock and roll. The jazz and blues and all that. St. Pete and then you got oldies and country music and
they have some Cuban music there too.
Oh,
in
Cuban.
Tampa. That's right, in Ybor City, which is really a marvelous area over there.
Yeah, lots of Cuban, and there's a big urban scene that's picked up in there too.
Yeah, well, the area it's grown a whole lot, and to my way of thinking, every time I've had a chance to go back, it's not the same place I left, but I'm home here. There's something about the wonderful food we have here, but particularly the music and the people. And there's a couple expats. My cousin, who used to be with LaRue, is living in Sarasota now.
Oh, nice.
And Mark Dupuy, who is someone who he's from over Baton Rouge over here.
Mark, what are we going to do with you, buddy?
He's living over in Tampa now, playing drums. So there's some wonderful things and some.
Wait a minute, air hooks, playing drums. Gotcha.
He's a good drummer. Mark and I used to jam in my old store over here.
Oh, that's cool.
When we first started out, yeah.
Well, that's another reason why I like you. See, I like you, Mark.
There you go. So you'll get a chance to see this too, Mark. So you can't say something too ugly to you because you're closer to him than I am. Okay? But anyway, with this marvelous thing, any last little quips you want to give us, Del, about what's next for you?
Well, not so much quips. This senior games thing has gotten to me because they've basically shamed me into losing weight and being fit. I had an 83-year-old woman say, "You listen to me. The reason I'm mean like this is I tell people like that, all my friends, and they're no longer with me. I want you here with me in 10 years." And I'm thinking, she's 83. She's sure she's going to be here at 93. She's not so sure about me at 66.
Because you're a senior now.
And well, but listen, I'll tell you something about that. When you were a senior in high school, you got to walk down the middle of the aisle. People got out of your way, right? It was a great thing. You go to college, you work hard, you become a senior. And that means you're ready to enter the world. You made it, okay? So then you enter into the work environment. You work your fingers to the bones for 15, 20 years. You become the senior person in your department making all that good money. Ta-da! You turn 50. Some AARP commercial, or probably more a prescription commercial, or something else that's gotten into your head says, it's over. It's not. It's not. Go to Growing Bolder. They got all kinds of resources for you. They'll tell you what aging is really like. They talk to the top experts. The guy that did the Blue Zones, he's got everything to tell you about this. But basically, I still like my lifestyle. I still like my good food. I can have all those guilty pleasures if I just balance my life. And that's the basic thing on everything, is live a balanced life, spiritually, mentally, all of that. Live a balanced life. So that comes down to the food. And I had to get it off, and Lorraine got it done and got me motivated. We started offering power walk, which is like race walk. You just have to strike with one foot and keep one foot on the ground. You don't have to do the janky race walk thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm doing 1,500-meter power walk. I've won a couple of medals.
Well, good for you.
And I'm at my lowest weight in 5 years. I've got another 18 to go to be at what I want to be my goal weight. I don't know if I'll get there, but I'll tell you what, I feel a hell of a lot better than I did, before this.
But then he came back over here, so he's going to gain another 5 pounds while he's here. So you have some more work to do now, don't you? You're going to Lagniappe tonight,
That's
right?
why they call me the Moonwalker.
Ooh.
I wrote a blog about it.
Really?
NSGA.com. You can go under media. You can find the Athlete of the Month stories, personal best stories, and you can read my work. And also, I wrote a blog under senior blogs that's called Moonwalking, telling how an athlete how somebody who was never an athlete, never thought of being anything athletic, became an athlete, and how people get there. You should never demean people because of how they look or whatever. You don't know where they come from. And I thought my example, it was my eyesight, and I'll tell this story, and then I'll indulge you, because it ties to music. My first 3 years of my life was nothing but blur. My mother took me to an eye doctor after I ran my tricycle into a fire hydrant. She probably thought I was special, but said, well, let's get him to the doctor. She was probably right in both cases. And so he said, oh, no, bye, guys. This was my stock and trade at Channel 2. Anytime I ate good food, and everybody went crazy. Tamales. I said, but this was a danger for me. I was in danger of detached retinas, and they had no answer for it back in the 50s. So they said no roller coasters, no contact sports. Marching band was enough for me. I thought twice about, I'm into trombones. I go through the tubas. So my whole life like that. And 2012, 2013, one then the other, no warning, boom, it went. Got it fixed. I'm okay. I'm seeing better than I ever have. But the thing was, I realized this just a few years ago. My impressions of the world, how I interpreted everything, location, direction, male or female, tall or big or whatever, was from sound. It was all aural. It was rainbows and things like that. Well, that might explain a few things about my brain, but it was all done from sound. And then I thought about like Stevie Wonder, how people overcompensate. They talk about that. I had to overcompensate. I mean, they tell a story how I held an ice cream cone and the dog's licking on it and I don't even see him. So get him to an eye doctor, why don't you? Thanks. So at any rate, I'm fine now, but that is why music is so central to me. That's why when I'm sitting at the bar, watching the band, I'm looking around and I'm one of the only people that's actually listening to the music that's going on there. And I'm great for conversation. I do break and I do all of that, but please don't interrupt me when there's something like a band I really want to see going on. We got a couple of really good players over there, and I want to get a couple of really good players from here down there. Chris LeBlanc, I think he could do Skipper Smokehouse. He would do very
well down there.
And
there are a number of people.
And there's maybe a couple. We might do a couple of little house concerts. I got a little pub and some other things in Safety Harbor where I might be able to help get some in. I'm not getting into the business, Jackie. I promise. I'm not getting into the business, okay? My wife, Jackie. She's much better looking than me. Why am I sitting here? Why don't you just have me with a mic off camera and let him look at her? Now, this thing went off the skids. This man is looking at me like, I got a little bit of Robin Williams kind of.
Her face over you.
Yeah, we could probably do that and make things work out nicely, right?
Oh, we have the voice of God here.
That's right. However,
yes,
as we move along here.
Okay, I'm trying to close this out.
No, that's okay. That's okay because there are so many things. We could go on for a much, much longer time.
Yes.
I may have to break this into 2 parts.
We may have to very well do that because this has gone on for a good while, which is fine. Because I think this is something that is... A lot of this is brand new to everyone out there. I mean, we're talking a different generation. Del and I both come from a different generation in a sense, in some of the what they call them, that the young people like to see.
I like to tell them, I said, I got out there and I screamed and yelled and I stood out and protested and I rushed the park and the Love Inn and I took mace in my face and screamed bloody murder just so you can, and took dangerous drugs just so you can live free.
That's right. And we went to the streak and we did all kinds of panty raids and things of that nature that were all...
Well, we cracked culture open. We cracked culture open. And then all the channels opened up. And then it's Katie bar the door and everything was on. And you know, we have a better opportunity now as a society to truly bring ourselves together. And I would hope that everybody would use those channels to do that.
Well, being that you are a journalist primarily, this is where your heart lies.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any place that our people out here can find some of your work? Any websites? Any?
Well, but the last few years, it's been the National Senior Games, and a lot of my work's been technical work and press releases for events and things like that. And that's what's been so great is that I feel like it was a gift, like a working retirement. So I always wanted to write, and you can't always do that. And the last 10 years before I got that job, it was more operational and support work and catering. Did a lot of catering work with big scale, feeding power workers. In fact, Wayne Stabler has Catering Cajun. He had a partner called Catering Cajun of Georgia. I was living in Atlanta. I wouldn't get off the boiling rig. He says, why don't you come work for me? Okay, it's just like working a gig. You know, it's just that everybody's there, the clients, the customers, the audience, they're just all dirty from doing work. They're not there to clap and cheer, but you take care of them, you entertain them. But anyway, so I was here for Katrina and Rita, 65 days. Saw some crazy stuff. But I've just done so many different things. But.
Well, one of the things you said earlier, and I think this kind of hits it, you called it a gig economy.
Right.
Earlier on when we had our discussions before we went on. And I think that's true. You pick up the gig where you can get it.
And that's my advice to young people. Yeah. Never turn down an opportunity. And I hear a lot of interns now in college expect to be paid. And yes, sometimes you can, but sometimes you got to do it for the experience and get your name out there. I can't tell you how many things I did as a favor or just asking, hey, can I come in and help with this? Or getting paid back in the day, you know, the equivalent of, you know, $3 or $4 an hour to come help build a stage or something. Yeah. And that was fine. I wanted to be close to it. And it damn sure paid off. So, you know, nothing's too small for you. And you're going to learn if you open your mind. Let me do the Julia Hawkins thing. Look for the magic moments in every day. There's something around you that you can learn from that's going to entertain you or that's going to, you know, bring your heart out and it's going to change how you look at the rest of your day. That's what she does. It could be a flower opening or it could be something else. She's the flower lady, but it could be anything in your life. You know, hold on to that and make your day happen. I say earn your day. I had a cancer. I should have died. But now I feel like I need to earn each day. This is how I'm earning today, is talking with you.
Well, as Julia Hurricane Hawkins is a prime example of living your life, and she's living it to the fullest. She's 105 years old.
Always have goals.
Running. That's right. She's running. I can't hardly run right now.
I'm running my mouth.
But once again, he'll be appearing here until the end of the week.
Don't try the veal.
That's right. Anyhow. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in tonight. We certainly would like y'all to make some comments down below of this particular visit with Del Moon, and also that we would love for you to subscribe to our page here on YouTube. It's Baton Rouge's Live Music on YouTube. Please comment, please subscribe, and please share it with all your friends, because this is where we'd like to take this to bring you more interesting, or I should say, persons of interest so we could bring this to you. And I want to thank Del for coming, and certainly Jackie, his wife, who's off stage. But thank you all for watching, and I want y'all to check back in with us again.
Here's a bottle of Spiritu Santo water from the Fountain of Youth in Safety Harbor.
That's right. Ponce de Leon himself is jealous. Thank you all.
Sorry to screw up your show clothes.
See you next time. Baton Rouge's live music.